This is Camera B and we're reviewing Sicario.
Sicario follows Kate Mesa, an idealistic FBI agent, as she's hired by a government task force to aid in the war on drugs in the border between the US and Mexico.
Going in then, I knew nothing about this.
I knew very little. I knew Sicario meant hitman in Spanish, and that's what I was basing my entire idea of this film on.
And they tell you that at the very beginning. The first thing it starts with is a definition, so it kind of brings everyone up to speed. Expectations then, if I knew nothing, I expected nothing from it really at all. Did you have any expectations?
I was expecting a film about a hitman.
Okay, let's break it down then. We'll start off with cinematography. I thought some of the shots in this were just beautiful.
Gorgeous, weren't they?
Yeah.
That opening shot from a helicopter down onto the neighborhood. Oh.
I had a bit of a Breaking Bad-esque feel to me though. I don't know if that's the place it was set in, but those really wide establishing shots where it's just still for a moment, I really like that sort of thing, and you could just take in the whole scenery. The other thing cinematography that I liked is I really like the fact that they would cut to sort of a locked off camera for a bit, and then the movement would maybe start after that. There were a lot of fixed camera shots in this, which at first they were a bit jarring. I don't know, I was maybe just noticing them, but I really started to appreciate them as it went on.
Yeah, I loved it. I loved the whole cinematography of this film. There's a bit when they cross from Mexico back into the US and they film from inside of the car. There's this entire sequence of them taking out some other people in some other cars who have guns. That was shot fantastically well.
Yeah, it was. That whole sequence, I really loved that bit. And all of the going through the city before that as well. I thought it looked amazing. And the scenes, they were so detailed and also just so pretty.
I liked the way they used the camera to make you feel like you were actually there with the people. If someone could have sat in that seat, that's where the camera was. If someone could not have exited the car, the camera didn't leave.
Yeah, they did an excellent job of that. What's also worth talking about then is towards the end of it, when they're going through the tunnel, there's a bit that they shoot in night vision and thermal.
I loved it. They had night vision for most of the characters, then they had the thermal vision for Alejandro, which obviously I didn't notice it at first, but then as I kept watching, I did realize that they were using that to signify that this was Alejandro.
Yes, of course, yeah. No, I didn't get that at the time, but thinking about that now, that does make sense. My only complaint with the thermal camera stuff, and it's a really tiny thing, is that as he was walking, he was leaving the warm footprints behind. That was fine. But then there was a moment where Kate closed the boot of a car and a handprint wasn't left behind. That's the only time where I thought, if you're going to commit to it, commit fully. But
I do remember, at least with the night vision, it was real. There wasn't any other lighting. It was completely real. They shot in real night vision.
It looked really good, and it took you into that whole thing again, so it just worked. Sound and music then, what do you think?
It was very good, particularly the scene when they're crossing back into the US. The music just heightened it fantastically.
It did, yeah. The music and the soundtrack throughout, and just the way the sound was mixed as well, I got a real sense of dread at certain points. Not because what was going on the screen, but just because what I could hear.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't see anything. You took away the sound, it looks like a normal car journey with a bunch of men with guns. But you add the music and the forethought, my God, your heart beats for those things.
Yeah. And in the bar, I have to point out the music in the bar, there was a country song, which was good. But that's not ever going to make it into the video.
The sound when they were going through that tunnel, I thought sounded fantastic. The gunshots throughout the film actually sounded very good.
Yeah, they did. And gunshots are one of those things that they can sometimes be a bit iffy. In this, you felt the gunshots.
Yeah.
Particularly in that last little bit where there's the wife and the kid over in Mexico and he's playing football and you hear some gunshots off in the distance. It summarizes the whole film really in that bit, and I really like that little scene.
So what did you think of this script then?
I actually thought it was pretty good. There were a couple bits that one of my issues was that I didn't necessarily always know exactly what was going on when people were talking about things. For example, there was, they talked about ROE, rules of engagement, but at that moment I didn't get what that meant, so I kind of missed that. And then there were things like weapons free, that other sort of term as well, where I didn't know what they meant going into it, so I had to kind of figure it out from what was going on. I kind of wish they'd explained some of that.
I'm glad that they didn't, because I like the fact that the script left you confused about what was really going on throughout the entire thing, left you in an equally confused state as Kate is.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, and I wasn't sure whether I liked that. Thinking back now, I think I probably do. And I want to watch it again now I think about it.
Yeah, and I remember thinking throughout the film, did I miss something? What's happening? And then you realise Kate's also thinking the same way. She's just keeping her mouth shut.
Yeah, and there's the moment with the two FBI agents when all the people are getting onto the buses and they say, okay, look, you're going to have to explain to us what's going on. And as a viewer, you're thinking, yes, finally. It's kind of different to not be spoon-feeding the viewer the whole way through.
Yeah, and I like that they treated the audience as an adult.
Yeah, well, you are Kate.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what she knows and that's it. Which takes us on to acting. I thought the acting was pretty good throughout this, really.
I thought it was fantastic. Emily Blunt did a standout job. Del Toro, fantastic job as Alejandro. Completely convincing. I think I read something that originally he had more lines, but then Del Toro decided to take out some of the lines to keep his character a little bit more mysterious. I think that was fantastically well done.
Yeah, I don't know what it is thinking about it, but there were just moments where I must have thought acting-wise, okay, maybe I'm not convinced by this. But yeah, the key people, they all did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
I think maybe it was a case of the supporting cast, just the people that were there for a couple of scenes or whatever, they weren't always completely convincing.
Reggie, Kate's partner, he wasn't that convincing to me.
Yeah, it's kind of okay though for what he's playing in it. He is a guy that isn't convinced by what's going on and is hesitant and that sort of thing. So, okay, he should feel like an outsider, and the way he acts, he does. So
yeah, and actually, that's exactly how he felt to me. So that was very well done.
yeah, maybe that's okay. Acting overall though, yeah, I think it was pretty good, and you certainly can't complain about any of the key people. Plot them. What do you think?
Loved it.
So that point you made before about being confused the whole way through, that was really the driving force behind this whole plot. It was a case of things were evolving and you learnt bits from them, but you didn't know what it meant. I really like that.
Me too. I'm so used to having movies just handing out exposition like it's free hugs. I'm glad that a movie like this has finally paced it in a way that I can feel is real.
And it is clever because you never get frustrated by it. You're never thinking, oh, come on, just tell me what's going on. I'm confused. You're always so intrigued by exactly what's happening that you don't care if it doesn't really make sense at the moment. Like the whole scene to go into Mexico to retrieve the guy, I didn't exactly know what that meant in the context of the whole film, but I absolutely love that sequence.
Exactly. They've done it in a way that doesn't make you frustrated, it makes you intrigued.
Yeah.
Well done.
Could I have rewound that whole driving bit? I would have done.
I'm still not entirely convinced I understand exactly what happened.
No, I'm glad you say that, because when I came out of it, I sat for a few minutes thinking, right, what have I just seen? I'm not 100% sure, but I don't care.
Exactly, yeah. I would love some more explanation, but I'm very glad it did it the way it did it.
I mean, the big points are obviously Alejandro, his wife and his daughter had been killed. He wanted to get revenge. The government also wanted to solve some problems as well, so it kind of all worked out in the end. My only kind of concern was kind of the way it ended with Alejandro holding the gun up to Kate.
Yeah, I was perfectly fine with that. And I liked that she felt like her apartment was really the only safe place for her, and then that again gets invaded.
Yeah, I just sort of wondered if maybe I didn't need that in the film, but then at the same time you've got to complete the journey of Kate's character from someone who is probably quite bothered about the rules to somebody in the end who is saying, okay, I'm going to be part of the sweeping it under the rug.
Yeah, and I like the way they made that transition to show you the real greyness in this battle.
Yeah, I think it all works overall. I don't think it's one of those things that the more you think about it, I think the more you'll figure the different beats out.
So, summary-wise, how did you feel?
I really liked it. I wasn't sure I did as it was going on. As it continued, I just liked it more. And yeah, my end opinion on it, I loved it.
I completely agree. I give this a no regrets watch. Definitely watch it.
Would you pay to see it again then?
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely would, yeah.
Yeah, I think I would. I think it benefits from a second viewing, particularly as you would know how it's going to end up, so you could think about it differently.
Yeah, you have a bit more context to figure out and you're not so confused.
So that's it for this episode of Camera B and this season of Camera B, but hopefully we'll be back soon with more film reviews. You can find out more by going to h9blog.com/camerab, where you can find all of our old episodes, and we'll have something for you between here and our next season as well, so keep checking our website and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you never miss a future episode. Until next time though, bye bye.
Bye bye.